Inland Sports TV show. It's the final week of the high school football regular season. It doesn't get any bigger than this. That's Geoff. I'm Pep Fernandez. Huge show, Geoff. Week 10, league champions. We're going to crown them on this show before we even play the games.
I'll tell you what, this has been a fun season. Besides week 0, I still don't understand that whole thing. We are now getting into the championships, and there's a couple games this week that will decide a champion.
Real big, juicy ones before we get to those league title games, because we have some true league championship games taking place this Friday. Shout out to, it's going to be Riverside Poly versus JW North this Friday night on Riverside TV. Are you doing that game?
I am doing that game. I will be, see, I'm not, let me see that thing.
You're not going to fit in this.
No, I'm not ever going to wear it. It's a Riverside, I'm a Ramona Rams. Ram high, baby, ram high. No, it's a nice jersey.
Yes, Coach DeWitt just hooked us up. It's going to be third in Chicago against Poly this Friday night. Winner will have second place in the Inland Valley League and likely a playoff spot. I say likely because, again, in this wacky world of the new playoff divisions, unless you win league, there is nothing guaranteed. So if you win league, you're in. If not, you got to wait and see. But if you're in second place, there's a very, very good chance that you're going to get it. So thanks to Coach DeWitt for that. I don't know if that's a practice jersey. Like, I used to wear these kind when I was a kid, so.
You probably would fit you too.
I could roll in that.
That's an extra small.
I might just wear it next show.
I think you should.
I might just.
Hey, next week.
Like midriff. Yeah, it's a midriff, my style.
Now, next week is right before Halloween. Are we going to show up dressed up in costume?
I don't know.
I think we should. I think we should show up in costume. We could put Cullen, we could dress him up like a little kid. Well, he is a young guy.
Yeah.
And then you can be, I don't know, Batman.
I got a full-on Darth. I got a Darth Vader suit.
We can go Star Wars, or I'm telling you, man, I just want to wear a T-shirt and then I'll dye my eyebrows white and this white, and I'm Mr. Clean right there.
You could totally do it.
Next week.
So maybe we will next Tuesday. Welcome to the Inland Sports TV show. We got to get to these league title games. There's 3 of them. We're going to cover all of them. We're going to break them all down. Let's start with the Rancho Verde taking on Heritage this Friday night. This is the granddaddy of them all. Go ahead and roll that video of the Rancho Verde, because Geoff, I would say going into this season, there was a lot of question marks with the Mustangs in terms of, a new quarterback. Jeff Steinberg no longer there at Beaumont High School, but Coach Duffy back in the mix. There were some question marks. They left no doubt. There has been no drop-off at the Rancho Verde.
No, and I'll tell you what, looking at their schedule, they're 9-0. They have big wins over at Big 8 team Santiago and Temescal Canyon. They are a juggernaut offensively. A young freshman quarterback, Coach Duffy's son, he's got over 2,100 yards passing, and they've got the great running back, Mr. Ugorji. I'll tell you, he is averaging a boatload of yards as well, but they're averaging 59 points a game. That's a lot of points.
They've always scored a lot of points. It's kind of what they do out there at the ranch. And I just feel like, again, it's kind of like, I guess, contrasting styles, right? When you talk about, the high-octane offense of the Rancho Verde team and a team that kind of hangs their hat on defense and running the football like a Heritage. I always love to see those matchups because, again, they're so different when they go head-to-head, which one's going to impose their will and win out. But Rancho Verde looks great right now. They're the #1 team in the latest CIF Southern Section Division II rankings. Also in D2, of course, Heritage is there. Norco's in there. Upland is in there. Redlands East Valley is not in the top 10 right now in the rankings for the CIF, but they're probably right there on the outside looking in, right there on the bubble. So Rancho Verde looks great. They're undefeated. They're rolling along here. Now let's talk about Heritage. We got Heritage highlights as well. Geoff, year in and year out, the guys change, the coach doesn't. Coach Broach is the constant there, and they have won 42 straight league games, going from the Sun Belt League and now into the Ivy League. They just don't skip a beat.
No, and their record, they're 7-2, but their losses are against Olu and Rev. Those are 2 quality losses, but they also have 2 quality wins. Remember, they beat Oak Hills pretty handily, and they beat Cajon and the great Jaden Daniels.
At Cajon.
Yeah, so anytime. You can't ever bet against Coach Broach. Remember, they average almost 300 yards on the ground, only 42 in the air. Their quarterback can run the football, and I'll tell you what, Coach Broach can play against any style, and I wouldn't put past them for them to continue their dominance in league play.
What's funny is, I think it was you. Somebody asked me, how did Heritage beat Cajon at Cajon? And I wasn't there, but we had one of our guys there for a Sports Weekly Live on IEMG. And Cajon only had possession of the football 3 times in the first half. That's exactly the way Heritage wants to play. They want to hold on to the football. They don't want Rancho Verde to have the football. They're going to have these long, time-consuming drives. They're going to eat up that clock. They're going to finish those like 8, 9, 10-minute drives with a touchdown, and they're going to play great defense. That plays right into what they do.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, when you have that high-octane offense and a young quarterback, that's the key right there. The quarterback position against a very, very skilled defense of Heritage, that could be the key. If Heritage can stop Duffy, stop Igorgi, they do have a shot.
I think, and again, I'm going out on a limb, I think Rancho Verde and Cajon are similar.
Yes.
In terms of the way they play. They got great skill position players. They can score a lot of points. Heritage doesn't, again, they don't change. They do what they do year in and year out. I'm excited about this matchup. Again, this will crown the Ivy League champion. If Rancho Verde can win this game, they will be the #1 team in Division II going into the playoffs. Now, if Heritage wins, this is going to throw a real wrench into everything. That's Rev against Heritage in that game where Rev won 12-6. If Heritage wins this game, Geoff, Division II going into the playoffs, I don't know who the #1 seed's going to be. It still might be Rancho Verde. It might be Norco. It might be Upland. There's a lot riding on this one game to not only crown the league champion, but also the pecking order for Division II as we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, and these two teams could actually play each other in the next 2 to 3 weeks, depending on where the seeding goes. Heck, they could play each other week 2 of the CIF playoffs.
Which would be nuts.
Crazy, just 3 weeks, 2 games.
But I love those rematches. In fact, Citrus Hill and Rancho Verde had something similar.
Yeah.
They played during the regular season at least, and then you see the team again a little bit later in the season. And to add to that, Heritage has won 42 straight league games against Sunbelt into the Ivy League. Can they keep that going? Centennial has the longest streak right now in the Inland Empire, but Heritage and Citrus Hill, a very close second, both of them at 42 straight league wins. But it's going to get a lot tougher for the Patriots come Friday night. In fact, Cullen Holt is going to be covering the game for the Inland Sports Show.
Nice.
It's going to be awesome. We're going to have coverage from Heritage and the Rancho Verde High School. All right, now let's go to the Southwestern League. Vista Murrieta taking on Murrieta Valley. This is another true league championship game. Vista Murrieta had that great run, but the Nighthawks are your back-to-back Southwestern League champions. Can they make it 3 in a row? Geoff, by all accounts, Vista Murrieta is back, but Murrieta Valley is still the team to beat until the Broncos knock them off.
I'll tell you what, Vista Murrieta, they had a big win early in the season versus Los Al, but lost to the Trinity League Olu. Murrieta Valley, man, I'll tell you what, they've had a tough schedule. They played Oaks Christian, lost to Cajon, lost to Santiago, but anytime you have Hank Bachmeyer, and they're averaging over 285 yards in the air per game, they're averaging 43 points a game. Vista Murrieta just behind them at 30 points a game. That will be a close game. 6-3 Murrieta Valley, 7-2 Vista Murrieta.
I love this matchup. And also, so Hank Bachmeyer now with 152 career touchdowns. That ties him for the CIF Southern Section career record with JT Daniels, former Mater Dei quarterback, now at USC. So they are tied. So one more touchdown pass by Bachmeyer, and he is now the record holder in the CIF Southern Section. Also, speaking of records, how about this guy right here? Christian Hunter, star running back for the Kaiser Cats. He is approaching several school records at Kaiser High School. The single-season rushing record, the touchdown records. He's trying to chase down the great Lennie Miller in both of those categories. A big thanks to our good friend Billy Cardosi, the head football coach of the Cats, for keeping us in the loop here with those school records for Kaiser High School. Kaiser will play Grand Terrace. That is another true league championship game. Geoff, Kaiser and Grand Terrace. Kaiser has done this all season long, scoring a lot of points, running that football. Last year it was Tyler Algier. This time it's Christian Hunter. Billy Cardosi has a good thing going. Listen, they've got several great players, but you've got to start with this guy, Christian Hunter.
I'll tell you what, Christian Hunter is, you mentioned Lennie Miller. Tyler Algiers. Those guys are superstars. To be in the same mix and to surpass those guys, you know you have something special. Their only loss of the year was to a great Aquinas team. They lost, what, 9-0?
It was 9-0. But that's the one game that Christian Hunter did not have a touchdown. He's had at least 3 touchdowns in every single Kaiser game this year, except for the Aquinas game. Yeah. So if you're Grand Terrace, maybe you go back and look at that game to see what the Falcons did, but that was the only game. He's been running wild. He's one of the best in the state.
A beast. And I'll tell you what, Coach Cardosi has circled that day, this Grand Terrace game, because remember last year, Grand Terrace is the champs. They got to do something to uphold those champs. I know Billy Cardosi is going to bring his mojo. The guys are ready, and they're 8-1 going into Grand Terrace. Grand Terrace, though, is still pretty darn good.
All right, we have some Christian Hunter highlights. Go ahead and roll those because he is also approaching the state lead in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. Geoff, they've done it all season long, so there's no reason to believe that Kaiser's going to go away from the ground game. That's kind of what they do. So by my estimate, and Kaiser as well, one of the top-ranked teams in their playoff division, they're going to have several more games with Christian Hunter. I think by the time this is all said and done at the end of the year, I think Christian Hunter of Kaiser will be the state champ in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. He's going to have a big game against Grand Terrace unless the Titans figure out a way to shut him down. And then I'm expecting several playoff games for Kaiser as well. So I don't know where he's going to finish, but I have a good feeling he's going to pass Lanye Miller for the school records, and he's probably going to be #1 in the state when it's all said and done at the end of the year.
And how nice is it to have Tyler Algier 1 year and then Christian Hunter back-to-back? Billy Cardosi, you have fallen into some greatness.
Wait, he's a good coach too, right?
Oh, he's okay, but when you've got running backs that good, they're averaging 375 yards on the ground, and a lot of that is because of Christian Hunter.
I think it's a little more complicated than say, hey, guys, hand the ball off to Christian Hunter. I mean, Cardosi's did a little more than that, but
just give it to Christian Hunter and just block for him, and you will be fine.
They do have some other good players, including Isaiah Rush. So there's good guys, but obviously Christian Hunter's a special one. Okay, so those are 3 true league championship games. Real quick to recap, we have the Ivy League, which is the Rancho Verde and Heritage. We have the Southwestern League, Murrieta Valley and Vista Murrieta. Yes, I say Murrieta, the
Murrieta.
And in the Sunkist League, Grand Terrace and Kaiser. Now, we have a couple games that we want to touch on for second place. We talked about these guys, the Riverside Poly Bears.
The Bears are back.
And JW North, that'll be for second place in the Inland Valley League behind Orange Vista. Orange Vista is going to win that league. They finish up with Canyon Springs. Another second place game, actually 2 of them that we want to touch on real quick. One is in the Citrus Belt League. It could be for second place. It's going to be Citrus Valley and Yucaipa. Now, Redlands East Valley will likely finish in second, but these 2 teams are still holding out hope. Maybe they can drum up some kind of a miracle finish here at the end. Worst case scenario, these teams will finish 3rd and 4th in the CBL. Probably make the playoffs, both of these schools, because the CBL is so tough, and they're both highly ranked in their playoff divisions, although Yucaipa did drop out of the top 10 in Division 4. But Yucaipa versus Citrus Valley, Geoff, CV trying to bounce back, right, after that tough, emotional game against Redlands East Valley for Coach Brook and those guys. And Yucaipa's kind of been that model of consistency. You know what I mean? There's no ups and downs. There's no ebbs and flows. Coach Price does such a great job with Yucktown. It's not like this. It's just that's a program. They do it year in and year out. That's kind of a big game here.
It is a big game, and the only thing you can kind of really compare it to is they both played Grand Terrace. They both got victories.
Is that the same common opponent?
The same common. The only one they had was Grand Terrace. Yucaipa won 34-13. If this is any indication.
Hold on, I'm writing this down. Let me write this down. Okay, so hit me up.
34-13. Yucaipa beat Grand Terrace, and then Citrus Valley beat them 28-21. So a close game there.
Ooh.
So if you're basing it on common opponents, we're going to have to go Yucaipa.
I hate playing that game, but sometimes it's right?
But the thing is, Yucaipa did play Grand Terrace the first game of the year.
A lot can change after that. It was that a week. I think it was a week. Was that a week 0?
It was a week 0 game, yes.
So that's like right out of the gate.
Yeah.
All right. It's hard to put a lot of stock in that one. And then our other game that we want to touch on, not for a league title, but it will likely determine second place, is in the Wild West of the River Valley League.
The River Valley League is not going to have a 5-way champ.
No.
Jurupa Valley's not going to get second place this year.
And I don't even think there will be any ties for second or for third. I think it's going to all shake out actually this year.
It is all going to shake out versus Ramona versus Norte Vista. And here's the deal. They're Division 9. Norte Vista's Division 9.
Which they're ranked now. They're in the top 10 in Division 9.
They are ranked in the top 10. But if they somehow lose, they might not get in. Based on the teams.
Really?
Yeah, I talked to Coach Batdorf today, talked to Coach Ron Main, and they said, hey, they have to win. This is a must-win situation. And then you have Ken Mashinsky over at Ramona, and I'll tell you what.
They're ranked as well in their
They're ranked as well, but they are doing numbers over at Ramona. They're buying in. Their defense is phenomenal. Remember, they had Hillcrest beat at halftime. They were up 3-0. They ended up losing with 3-minute span there where they gave up a couple touchdowns, a pick six. So they're right there. This is going to be a great game, and they're going to cover it on Riverside TV.
You know, we talked a lot about these league championship games, and again, those 3 that are true league title games. But these games for second place, for third place, that's where the real drama is, because these teams are fighting for the playoffs, like Ramona Novi. We just talked about Pauley and North. I mean, if you lose and you finish in third place or, heaven forbid, even fourth place, you're going to have to wait till Selection Sunday to see maybe if the cards fall, correctly for your team that you're going to get in. But that's where the real drama is, the second and third and fourth place teams.
If you recall, last year, La Sierra upset Hillcrest in league.
Yeah.
They didn't get in the playoffs, and it was a 5-way tie for first place. It was based on a coin flip, not based on what they did on the field.
All right, so those are some of the big matchups coming up. Let's go to our Inland Sports Grade 8 and 4 more rankings for this week. Not a whole lot of movement, but again, that Rancho Verde versus Heritage game is going to be huge. Murrieta Valley taking on Vista Murrieta. That's a huge one. Citrus Hill, they passed their test against San Jacinto, so they're not going anywhere. So that's how it looks right now, Geoff. The one, new addition is Aquinas.
That's the one I wanted last week. I said I wanted those guys in. I'm glad the computer listened to me.
Geoff said, I'm going to walk off the set. I'm going to throw that computer right out the window if Aquinas isn't in the rankings. There's Aquinas. They are 8-1 on the season. The team that dropped out was, who dropped out? I'm trying to figure out who dropped out. I think it was Yucaipa. Yucaipa was coming off a loss against Cajon. I think they're 5-4 overall on the season. If Yucaipa can beat Citrus Valley, finish in third in the CBL, that could help the T-Birds in terms of the computer rankings. But right now, Aquinas is in the clubhouse as they are now in the Grade 8 and 4 more. And again, come next week, this might look different because we have big games coming up.
It should look different next week because Vista Murrieta is going to play Murrieta Valley. Whoever wins that, are we just going to rotate those spots?
We could. And Vista Murrieta is number 7, not only in our rankings, but they're number 7 right now in the latest Division I rankings by the CIF Southern Section. So that's straight from the CIF. That's not us.
So Vista Murrieta is back.
They're back. They're pretty good, and we're excited about that matchup with the Nighthawks. The Nighthawks coming off that win against Murrieta Mesa was a shootout. They barely got that one. So that's our rankings going in to Week 10, the final week of the regular season. All right, we come back here on the Inland Sports TV show. We're going to go inside the Lancers, presented by Magnolia Heating and Cooling. We're going to catch up with California Baptist wrestling coach Lennie Zalesky. He's a Hall of Famer, and the Lancers have a huge home opener against the Ohio State University on the wrestling mat.
The Buckeyes, are they going to? Is this wrestling match going to be in the arena?
It's in the arena. It's the home opener. Ohio State's the national runner-up from last year. This is big time. So we're going to hear from Coach Zalesky as we go inside the Lancers when we come back on the Inland Sports TV show.
What's up? It's Patrick and 40 morning on 96.7 KCal Rocks.
You're watching the Inland Sports TV show. We love you, Pep.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Spoiled. Quick, quality oil change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. You're going to save thousands of dollars at Catalano Motors. And Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona.
thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. Just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. Come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports TV show. Still got my Poly jersey over here. I'm going to make you wear this, Geoff. I might wear it for Halloween. Like no undershirt, just rocking the mesh, drift out.
You know what? We're talking wrestling. You know, I'm going to show up next week in a singlet.
You are?
On a singlet.
What a treat for everybody.
And the headgear right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to look like George the Animal Steel. I'm glad to be wrestling. That looks pretty cool.
Next Tuesday, so the day before Halloween.
Yes, we're going to dress up in our finest dress. Last year, we did do Star Wars. I was a Sith Lord, and then we were...
Was I Darth Vader?
You were Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I was a Sith Lord.
Basically all I have.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know, we could think of something.
We'll figure it out.
You could be Mrs. Incredible, and I could be Mr. Incredible.
Huh?
Mrs. Elastic, is that what you was? You could rock it. I could be Mr.
What about
Incredible.
just like ketchup and mustard or something like that?
I do have a peanut butter and jelly outfit that you could be peanut butter, and I could be your jelly. I really do. I'll bring it in.
That might happen.
All right,
we might need something there. Right. But if Geoff is not wearing the singlet, it's okay. We got enough wrestling in this show. We got you covered. California Baptist with a huge home opener on November 16th against the Ohio State Buckeyes. How big is this, Geoff? It's like if this was basketball, and we're going to have to get on Coach Croy, because if wrestling's doing this, we need CBU basketball to do. We need Duke. We need North Carolina.
Michigan, that's your team.
We need Michigan. They were the national runner-up last year, right?
Yes,
Michigan?
Yes.
It would be like the Michigan Wolverines coming to the event center to play Coach Croy and the Lancers.
Do you have to get on Coach Croy about that?
That's how big it is for the Ohio State to come here and wrestle California Baptist. They were the national runners-up. In fact, traditionally one of the top 5 teams in the country. Those Midwest schools are so good at wrestling. Ohio State, Penn State, Iowa, Oklahoma State. Yeah, those Big Ten and Big 12 schools are just unbelievable. So to have the Buckeyes here in Riverside, wrestling CBU in the event center for the home opener, it's a huge deal. We caught up with head coach Lennie Zalesky as we go inside the Lancers, presented by Magnolia Heating and Cooling.
Yeah, I don't think there's been somebody that's been this magnitude that's come to Southern California wrestling. So since the last program here, D1 program, has been Fullerton, I don't think they had anybody. So somebody to this magnitude hasn't been in Southern California for at least 20 years.
Well, don't get me wrong. You guys have done some cool things on campus. I was here when the Stanford Cardinal came on campus, and they had the big match outdoors, out on the lawn. So you've had some big-time competition. You've done some out-of-the-box things, but having the Buckeyes here for opening night, for your home opener inside the event center, I mean, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, we're excited actually. I mean, I think the wrestling community, one of the reasons to bring them in was trying to get the wrestling community kind of excited around here. So I think they have 6 All-Americans, you know, returning All-Americans, and for high school kids to come and watch these kids wrestle, it's a big deal. And then for us, you know, we hope to get there someday to that level, and so let's see where we are, and let's see how far we got to go.
Now, in terms of, you know, Division I wrestling, I know those Midwest schools are powerhouses. I mean, Penn State beat Ohio State head-to-head, Oklahoma State, Iowa. I could go on and on, but is that where you're hoping to maybe see CBU, maybe not this year or next year, but maybe big picture kind of thing, that you want to be up there with the elite? Yeah, well, you know, wrestling fans for a long time have said California has been one of the better schools, states, as far as putting out talent. And then they'll say, but you don't have a college there that really... Because they all leave, right? They leave. Yeah. So we're hoping that, and there's some very good kids coming up through this state. We're hoping, and out of state, that are, you know, expressing interest, you know, in CBU. So we got to go through this transition time of 4 years. But after the end of the 4 years, we're hoping to really draw that same type of talent. There's a lot of kids that are talented. There's only so many kids that can go to Penn State and Ohio State and Oklahoma State and Iowa. And the weather out here is an attraction, of course. The beach is an attraction, but our university is also an attraction. So I think it's possible. So you finished 3rd in the nation last year at Division II. Right. If I'm a casual wrestling fan, if I'm just watching the show, I mean, is that a huge gap going from 3rd best in the country in D2 to going up against the national runner-up at D1? Yeah, it's a good step. Just to give you an idea, Ohio State wrestled North Carolina State last year, I think in a duel. I think it was North Carolina State. They were ranked 4th in D1, and they beat them, I think it was like 38-3. So the 1 and 2s, and well, usually 1, 2, 3, and 4 in D1 is set apart. They're usually considerably higher than 6, 7, 8, 9. Not always, but yeah. So that in their case, they did. So it's kind of top heavy, at least maybe with those top programs. Yes. How did this come about? How did you get the Buckeyes to come out here to? I mean, besides the beautiful weather and the beautiful campus, but how did you get Ohio State to come out here? Well, Tom Ryan, who's the head coach, I was coaching at Iowa when he came to wrestle there. So we've established a friendship over the years, and you know, our family's actually fairly close to his. So it's a favor on his part. It's like a little mini vacation, though, coming here to Riverside, I guess, right? Yeah. Beautiful weather. I think they're going to like it. Yeah, I think they're going to enjoy the trip for sure. We're going inside the Lancers, presented by Magnolia Heating and Cooling with Coach Zalesky. Coach, what are you hoping to see come that night against the Buckeyes inside the event center? Are you hoping that it's going to be sold out, packed? I know, again, going back to those Midwest programs, those Penn States, the Ohio States, they sell those arenas out, and it's a huge deal. Are you hoping to see something similar? Yeah, we're hoping to sell it out. Yeah, I think we have over 1,000 tickets sold already. I think it's 5,000 capacity, or just a little bit underneath. Most of the fans will probably show up that night, but yeah, we're hoping to have that sold out. And that arena, I was in it the other day. It's just a perfect place, a perfect bowl for wrestling, actually. So we're excited about that for sure. And then, of course, if we compete well or beat any of those guys, you know, we're going to be excited. We'll be excited if we win. We're really excited. But it's a tall order. It's a tall order.
you've got some pretty good wrestlers of your own. I'm talking about Daxton Gordon, who's a national champion. I think he was at 149 last year. What are some of the weight classes that you're looking at that you feel like you guys have a pretty good shot? Some of the wrestlers you have coming back.
Yeah, we have a really young team. So we have, I think half our team is like freshmen or transfers, and they're freshman transfers. So, you know, Zach Schrader, our heavyweight, actually beat Ohio State kid last year. Was actually the national champion's brother, but he wasn't a starter. But I do believe Daxton could do okay, although at his weight, I think they're going to have a couple-time All-American. So, you know, we'll see. You know, it's what the difference is. You know, Garrett Strang had a good year last year, made it to the NCAA tournament. He's going to be down a couple weights, probably more closer to the weight to wrestle than he did last year. But we have probably, I'm trying to think who we're going to have new at a lot of weight classes: 41, 57, 97, 25. You know, so we'll see. But these guys in the room look good, so we'll just see how they compete.
You get to see him for the first time. I believe it's at Cal Poly, right? So you open up on the road. Is that kind of maybe, you know, the cliche is a barometer or a measuring stick or whatnot, just to see what you guys, since it's a young squad, what you kind of have before you go into the huge home match against Ohio State?
Well, it's good to have a match like that, yes, beforehand. In some respects, yeah, we'll use it as a barometer to see if how they wrestle. I know how they wrestle. Just can they do what they do in practice out in the match? So. Yeah, it'll be an interesting night, you know, because there's going to be other things going on. Not only do we have a good team, but I imagine we're going to have a lot of fans, and it's pretty easy to get caught up in that. So, you know, there's a lot of things for an athlete to compete at this level that are going to be going on in the head. So they're young, big crowd, and a big team. So we'll see how we do with all that.
Plus a high school match, right? The same night with Poway and St. John Bosco, right? That's a great way to get high school kids in there. Maybe, like you said, open their eyes up to big-time Division I college wrestling.
Right, yeah. So we got Poway, who's perennially in the top 3, has stayed for a long time. They're a good team, but they got a tough team, St. John Bosco. And they got quite a few good kids. That'll be a really good match in itself. So if you're a high school, you know, wrestler or coach, you get both here. You know, so you get both levels.
Is that before, or after, or
same time?
Same time.
Yes, we're going to run 2 mats simultaneously. So yeah, otherwise it'd be like a 4-hour event. That's a long event. So this will be like an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. It's going to depend, of course, on pins and how long the match goes, but it should run an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. But that in itself is going to be a very good dual meet. Poway took 3rd last year. St. John Bosco took 7th.
In the state?
In the state, yeah. But I think they were both ranked nationally. So it'll be good on both ends. St. John Bosco, I know, has at least, they have a couple kids that are ranked nationally already.
So they're turning into a powerhouse.
Oh yeah, they'll be a powerhouse if they're not, or yeah, they are. If they're not considered a powerhouse now.
Well, Coach, finally, how one last time to kind of maybe get some interest from the viewers out there who might be really into wrestling or maybe casually wrestling. Maybe they have a son who wrestles, to kind of get them into the event center.
Yeah, I would just say, California. I'm from Iowa. And I wrestled at Iowa, and when I wrestled, we had 12,000 fans that would come, and it was just a great venue and a great event. The intensity in wrestling, college wrestling, is rather high compared, I would say, to most other sports. So you have a Big Ten team coming, and they're hard to get out here. And if I had a son that was interested or is wrestling, well, I'd like to show him what some of the these All-Americans look like, how they act, maybe, all of that. But being the fact that I don't believe anybody who has been in the top 2 of the NCAAs has been out here for, I'm not so sure ever for a long ever. Yeah. But I can say, since I've been coaching out here since 2001, it hasn't happened. So anyway, just the sake of all that going on, and you got some college wrestlers going to be wrestling in the high school matches. To be honest with you, there's some kids there's probably a good 4 or 5 guys that are going to be wrestling in college. So you got 2 high-quality events, that are going on at the same time in an hour and 45 minutes. Come see the event center. It's a beautiful place. Even though it's semi-big, it holds 15. It's very comfortable. And you, no matter where your ticket is, you're going to have a good seat for both matches.
Well, it's CBU taking on the Ohio State, like Coach just said. This is a big deal to have the Buckeyes come into Riverside for a match like this. So,
right.
Coach, it was great talking to you. We've just gone inside the Lancers, presented by Magnolia Heating and Cooling. Coach, we appreciate the time and best of luck against the Buckeyes.
Well, thank you.
And that was Inside the Lancers, presented by Magnolia Heating and Cooling with Coach Zalesky. Big match for the Lancers against the Ohio State. Hey, Geoff, this is also a big match right here. CBU taking on UC Riverside.
Ooh, tonight.
Volleyball tonight at the event center. They want the place to be sold out, 5,000 plus. That's what they're going for. This is big time. We love this friendly rivalry between the Lancers and the Highlanders.
I don't know if it'll be friendly if there's 5,000 people there. That's not friendly at all. That's an atmosphere.
They want it overflowing with fans out there. So
I'll tell you what, that is the nicest arena in the entire area. You can go to Citizens Bank Arena. Nope. Go to Cal Baptist.
Your parents are going.
My parents go to all the Cal Baptist volleyball games.
Do they have the suite? Like, is there like a VIP suite for them?
No, they just sit down in the 2 chairs and they just clap, and my dad goes yay yay and waves a pom pom of some sort.
Or does he have those? You know the plastic hands.
The big one hand. Yeah.
Or he goes, Lance up, Lance up. All right. When we come back, hey, we got to check in with former Santiago quarterback Blake Barnett. He is tearing it up at the University of South Florida. They're undefeated. They're ranked in the top 25. All these things. We haven't heard from Blake Barnett in a while, but he's doing great now.
He's going to be in the NFL. He's been everywhere. Why not be in the NFL next year?
We're going to talk Blake Barnett and more college football when we come back here on the Inland Sports TV show.
How you guys doing? Coach Bass here. We're back at the BPC. Wanted to share with you guys what we're doing today in the gym. Today is all about backward movement. So if you're a football player, lacrosse player, soccer, basketball, any sport that requires backward movement, this drill's for you. Come check it out. So what the athletes are doing here, they're doing a back lateral run. So what I'm looking for here is I want their head back, all right? They're gonna hit a lateral run, they're gonna hit a quick transition. So this is a 90-degree cut. So on all of our 90-degree cuts, it's a single foot cut. And what I'm looking for is just a nice and fluid lateral run with their head looking back. They're gonna dip that inside shoulder, make a nice, crisp and clean cut. They wanna stay on a tight rope, and they wanna accelerate out of it. So this drill here, it's very similar to the last drill that we just watched. Now we're hitting our lateral run, and we're going at a 135-degree angle. So we're taking it up a notch, we're increasing that angle. So now we're still getting that single foot cut off the inside edge of our foot, and then we want to decelerate at the cone. So again, we want to make a nice and sharp transition. We want to dip that inside shoulder, we want to decelerate. So that's our boost training tip of the day. Thanks for checking us out again. And make sure you stay up to date with everything that's Boost. Check our schedules, check our videos at our website at www.boosttrainingsystems.com. Check out our Twitter at boost_training and our Instagram at boosttraining. Grind hard, stay solid.
We're a small family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cajelco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the crossings. We have great financing. We have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car. Whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports TV show. Big shout out to all of our sponsors, including Catalano Motors. The weekly special, Geoff, you ask me every single week because I know you're on the market. You want to trade in your minivan. It's a 2011 Ford F-150 SVT Raptor. Great deal, low mileage. Go trade in your minivan right now.
No, I'm telling you, I want a van conversion with shag carpeting and a little mini bar in there.
If you want it bad enough, maybe they can make it happen.
I want a 1980s like Dodge van, old school.
CatalanoCars.com. Hey, you remember this guy in the back?
Yeah, he's had a lot of jerseys on. I know that over the years.
Listen, I don't know. Cullen Holt's standing by to give us a recap of what's going on with Blake Barnett. But Blake Barnett, former quarterback at Santiago. Yeah. He's had a long road. I mean, he verbaled to Notre Dame. He signed with Alabama. He lost the job. He went to Arizona State. Now he's at South Florida. And he's tearing it up. South Florida is one of the best college football teams in the nation. He
has found his home. They're undefeated. The guy is playing. I mean, heck, we could be talking a big-time bowl game here if they continue to win out.
They could. He's married to a pro model and a pro surfer. He's got a kid. Like, he's got the whole thing right now.
He lives the life of Riley. He's finally getting to show his wares. And I'll tell you what, he's awesome. Look at that. Good-looking picture right there.
So what is up with Blake Barnett? Cullen Holt has more. Cullen?
Well, when this guy graduated from Santiago High School, ESPN.com tabbed him as the #1 pocket passer in the nation. And that was during his time for Jeff Steinberg with the Sharks. Then he goes to Alabama, transfers to Palomar College, cup of coffee at Arizona State, and then South Florida. He became the starter there, and the Bulls are 7-0, one of 5 remaining undefeated teams in Division I and ranked in the top 25. So Barnett and South Florida having a great season. So here's what Blake Barnett had to say after win number 7 over UConn.
Sports. It's good. You know, we're trying to take everything week by week. Faceless opponent, and obviously trying to keep the streak alive. We're coming out every week to practice and to prepare to win, and so to be able to do that now for 7 weeks in a row, it's good. These guys are working really hard in practice, and we're coming out here, and it's not a lack of effort. We really care. We're doing our best. Tonight I shouldn't have thrown those interceptions, but I can say that every time I go out there, I'm leaving everything on the field. And I hope that my play represents that. We care. We're trying. We just need to get better.
Sports. Well, Barnett has over 1,800 passing yards as a starter once again. Worn a lot of jerseys, like you said, Jeff. Over 1,800 yards, are 7-0, 21st in the nation. Only 5 teams in Division I are still undefeated, and South Florida is one of them. So Saturday it'll be at the University of Houston at 12:30 Pacific time. If you guys want to tune in, that'll be on ABC as Blake Barnett and the Bulls look to stay perfect. Pep and Jeff, back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Cullen. Can we see that Blake Barnett video again? Because, Jeff, remember, coming out of high school, he was the true definition of what they call that dual threat quarterback. Everyone knew he could throw the football, but he could run, too. He was a fantastic runner. He's kind of tall and lanky. He certainly filled out a little bit. But he could always run the football. He would break off big-time runs. And look at him. Look how hard he is to bring down. Blake Barnett has always been a great two-way quarterback in terms of being a pocket passer, making all the throws, but being able to be a running back, too, when he needs to.
Yeah, and remember, Josh Rosen, the starting quarterback for the Cardinals, called him out. Remember in the pre-draft?
It was before the NFL draft.
They called him out on the pre-draft workouts. He's like, mentioned Blake Barnett. I'll tell you what, he's going to have his shot maybe here shortly in the future after his 2-year stint here in South Florida.
Look at him. Man, I'm so happy for Blake Barnett. I'll say this right now. I'd rather be Blake Barnett right now than Josh Rosen.
I would as well.
Like, seriously, I'd rather be Blake Barnett. So congrats to Blake Barnett, doing very well at South Florida. One other quick college football score we want to pass along. San Bernardino Valley College beating Mount San Jacinto. The game was live on IEMG. You can head to their YouTube channel and check out the whole thing. 63-35, a very convincing win for the Wolverines. And in that game, Geoff.
Wait.
What?
Did Armando Herrera throw a few touchdowns?
He broke basically every single record. His name is all over the Valley College record book now. And whether you're talking about single season touchdowns, career completions, career passing yards, the former Redlands East Valley star tore it up. Had a big game, and now he's the best of all time at SBVC.
Yeah, in fact, San Jacinto was undefeated, weren't they, and ranked?
Yeah, Mount San Jacinto was undefeated. SBVC was 5-1 going into the game, and SBVC looks like, barring something crazy happening in these last 3 regular season games, looks like they're going to win the American Mountain League going away. And then Brett Virgil, the quarterback out of Heritage, now at Mount San Jacinto, he actually had a very strong game too. It's just they went up against a pretty good SBVC team.
Yeah, and the only loss to SBVC is to the Tigers of Riverside.
That's right. Yeah, their one loss was against RCC, and they might just win out now. That might be their only loss all season long. All right, now we got a fancy graphic.
We do.
As we go back to high school football and playoff streaks. We're talking about teams who have made the playoffs in consecutive seasons for a long, long time. Norco has the inland area record, Geoff, and we've got the jersey to prove it. We actually have the Norco number 31 jersey. It's going to be 32. It's going to be 32 years for Norco, but right now that's the current streak. For our local teams in the Inland Sports Show coverage area, Norco at 31 years and counting. Centennial, they're going back to the playoffs, so that'll be 21. And Coach Cardosi, Billy Cardosi, basically a lock, right, to make it 18 years.
Yes.
And then Redlands East Valley, 16 years and counting. They're going to go back. Vista Murrieta, 13 years. They're going back to the playoffs. In fact, all the teams on that list will be in the playoffs. I think Summit's that one team that might have their playoff streak snapped this year, but everyone else will continue their playoff streaks. I just find it interesting to see these teams who have been the model of consistency year in and year out getting back to the playoffs. Now, don't get me wrong, winning league is a big deal, but for a lot of teams, that playoff streak, just getting to the postseason is a major milestone, and especially more so now that if you can just get to the playoffs, some of these teams might not win league, but they'll win CIF or they'll make a CIF championship run just because of the way the leagues and the playoff divisions work out now.
Yeah, and the extraordinary thing about Norco is they've done it under like 3 or 4 different coaches.
Yeah.
So it's incredible. You had Coach Campbell, you had Coach Gerhardt, and then
Larry Baker was in there. Yeah.
And then you have Chastain. Those are 4 coaches we just named over that 31-year period.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
So like a team like Norco, Centennial's going to win the Big 8, so Norco won't have a league title, but there's a pretty darn good shot. They could win a CIF Southern Section Division II championship. Now, of course, Heritage and Rancho Verde and Upland, they're all going to have a say in it. But that's the reality of it is they might not win league, but they could win CIF. So good on Norco, 31 years, which is a Inland Empire record and counting. When we come back, we're going to wrap up this edition of the Inland Sports TV show. We're going to talk a little more high school football and also get you set for Austin Barnes and the Dodgers, Game 1 of the World Series.
Series is tonight.
You gonna watch it?
Of course I am.
I'm watching CBU and UCR volleyball. Forget the World Series.
I gotta watch the World Series because I have little kids that just run around me. So if I put on a game and there's a ball involved, my kids will watch it.
They're glued to the TV.
Yeah, they'll be good. They'll be good.
We'll be back on the Inland Sports TV show. Your kids love sports.
Right.
Look at this guy right here.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Spoiled Quick Quality Oil Change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. You're going to save thousands of dollars at Catalano Motors. And Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. Come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
Inland Sports. All right, time to wrap up this edition of the Inland Sports TV show. Big thanks again to Teen Vision TV 16 right here at Val Verde. We love these guys. Johnny Nunez is back from Green Bay.
He said
he was weeping. He's still weeping. He's a mess. Yeah,
that's right. He was sad because
he's a 49er fan.
Yeah, 49er. But Brockman, his buddy, was very, very excited.
Oh yeah, because he's a Packers fan.
Yeah, he was definitely a cheesehead.
It was a heartbreaking loss, and it's been some tough times in the Nunez household right now.
Yeah, because there's no Garoppolo.
He's still crying.
There is no Garoppolo.
But we got to talk one more thing about high school football because, Geoff, sometimes our best conversations, and maybe this is why we should start an Inland Sports podcast, is just the casual, hey, we're walking out the door.
Yeah, that's right.
Standing in the urinal next to you, like whatever the case may be. We have these great conversations. It's happened.
It has
Sitting
happened.
on an airplane, like wherever it might be.
Yeah, when we hit turbulence, I grabbed you for comfort.
Yeah, sitting on a park bench at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I mean,
eating pizza.
So
saying hello to the co-eds.
So we were walking out of Teen Vision TV 16 last week.
Yeah.
And something dawned on us that the Val Verde School District could potentially have 3 CIF football champions.
That is incredible. Yeah, we were shocked because we were like, wait a second, is there any other school district that has 3 teams that are ranked not in the top 5, but in the top 3?
Yeah, because we were thinking about, okay, maybe Redlands. No, we don't think so. Murrieta.
Corona Norco.
Corona Norco's got 2 with Centennial and Norco. But if you think about it, and go ahead and roll some of those Citrus Hill highlights, Citrus Hill is number 2 in Division 3. Yep. The Rancho Verde, of course, is number 1 in Division 2. And Orange Vista right now is number 2 in Division 13. So that's 3 teams that could win CIF from right here in Val Verde.
And I'm telling you what, I think Orange Vista is going to win Division 13. I've seen them twice this year, and there's nobody in that class with those guys.
So El Monte's number 1.
Yeah.
That's the only team that beat Orange Vista.
Yes.
So if Orange Vista wants to win the championship, they would have to beat the one team that got them this year.
And I talked to Coach Zolmalt before the game on Riverside TV, and he said, I wouldn't mind playing them again. So my money and my bets are going to be on Orange Vista to win it.
And so that's Division 13. In Division 3, do we have those Citrus Hill highlights? Citrus Hill, here's the deal. They'd have to get past Cajon. That's the big hurdle.
Caveat.
You know what I mean? Like if you look at Division 3, I think Citrus Hill is competitive with everyone. But Cajon is just, man, they are just such a nightmare for a lot of teams, whether you're Division 3, Division 2. They would battle all these Division 1 schools. So not to say Citrus Hill couldn't beat them, but I think at least for Rancho Verde in Division 2 and Orange Vista in Division 13, I think Citrus Hill might have the toughest road in Division 3.
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach Zolmalt should better call Coach Broach and get a little bit of advice on that one.
Yeah, I mean, Heritage found a way to get Cajon, but man, Cajon has just so many weapons, including that big, tall receiver, Darren Jones, which is a nightmare for everybody. So I'm excited. Val Verde's got 3 teams ranked in the top 2 in 3 different playoff divisions. So I don't know. Again, one of those random conversations as we're sipping on our iced coffees, walking out the doors of here of TV 16 Teen Vision, and it just dawned on us. So.
Yeah, and we will know the fate of all of these teams Sunday afternoon.
I love Selection Sunday. I'm like sitting by my computer, refreshing the screen,
finding see which division comes out first. Oh yeah, it's great.
I love
Taking your Sharpie and writing everything down. Oh, yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap this up because everyone wants to go home. They want to watch the Doyers. The Dodgers, game 1 in Boston tonight. From what we understand, the rain has stopped. And we think in New England?
It is a 5 o'clock start, 8 o'clock East Coast time, and Dodgers are going to win it.
We got Ryan Madsen, pitcher for the Dodgers out of Valley View High School. And, of course, our favorite Dodger, Austin Barnes out of Riverside Poly.
He was the hero in the NLCS. NLCS. He was the hero. They brought him back, and he was the guy that really saved them. He saved them last year in the World Series. He's going to do it again this year and hopefully get a ring.
Joe Kelly out of Corona and UC Riverside for the Boston Red Sox. Stephen Wright, who's also a guy out of Valley View. So actually 2 Valley View guys in the World Series, but Stephen Wright's had an injury that's kept him out of the postseason. But I'll have to check if he's been added to the World Series roster for the Red Sox. But pretty cool to have 4 local guys between the Dodgers and the Red Sox in the World Series. And I should mention, too, that coming up on November 20th, we have the Austin Gurriel Classic, the 4th annual at CBU in honor of Austin Gurriel. And that game last year, the championship game of the Austin Gurriel tournament, Austin Barnes came out. Remember, he threw out the first pitch for the championship game of the Austin Gurriel Classic. So best of luck to Austin Barnes and the Dodgers. I know there's some Red Sox fans out there, too, who want the Bo Sox. So.
A few.
So we'll see. All right, we're going to do it for this Inland Sports TV show. Game 1 of the Dodgers and the Red Sox tonight. We will see you next Tuesday as we head into the CIF Southern Section Football Playoffs. For Geoff Gorham, Johnny Nunez, our technical director, Anthony Trujillo, holding it down. I'm Pep Fernandez. We'll see you next time on the Inland Sports TV show.